Hey, Tim Lerch here. I'm here with this Collings, beautiful Collings, OM1JL. I'm going to do a little gushing about this guitar. Some of you may have noticed if you follow my channel that I've been playing this guitar quite a bit lately. And I wanted to do a kind of review slash praise video about it. I really love this guitar. I've had it for a little bit over a month now, and it's exactly how it was when I pulled it out of the case for the first time, with the one exception is that I've tuned it down 1/2 step, so you'll notice that this guitar is tuned to E flat standard the whole way. I thought I would try it because I like doing that, and since I put it there, I haven't changed it back because I just love how warm and throaty it sounds in this lower tuning. And because I don't really plan on playing this guitar, in a group setting, I was looking for a voice, an acoustic guitar voice. I'll get into this a little bit later, but that I could play solo guitar on, that I didn't have to work too hard, but would have a beautiful full voice and balanced voice. And I think I've really hit on it with this one. It's in sunburst, which is a little unusual, although I love it. It's satin finish, and I like that as well because the story is back in my youth, I had a 1946 0018, which was a wonderful, wonderful guitar, and I didn't really appreciate it at the time because I happened to just fall into it and played it and enjoyed it very much. And then, as often happened to me in my early days, or even my not so early days, life would conspire to, make it so that I had to come up with some money to pay the rent or whatever it might have been, some essential. And this guitar ended up getting sold, and I regretted it ever since, this 1946 0018. I played it a lot, I toured with it, and then I had to let it go. And ever since then, I've been looking for something that resembled that guitar, and I bought many guitars, Martins of all kinds, and a few other odds and ends and things that I hoped for, and they never really quite matched up to that, my memory of this old, beautiful 0018. And I was sharing this story with Julian. Julian Lodge is the man who developed this model with Collings guitars. And he said, well, you might try my signature guitar from Collings because I had an old Martin too, and that's kind of what we were shooting for. And so I ended up having this one made, and I got it mid-December, just before Christmas actually. And I really haven't put it down much since. It's just beautiful. Now, a couple of things that I like about it, and I'll talk about it, is that it likes the microphone. Now, right now I've got an SM57, which is another thing that I was speaking recently with Julian about this, and he said, that guitar likes an SM57. And so I thought I'd put that one on the lower part of the guitar. And then I have a nice ribbon mic, nothing fancy, just a Sterling Audio ribbon mic that I have tended to use, and I have it kind of pointing around here. So it's picking up my voice and the fingerboard of the guitar to avoid any kind of woofiness or whatever. I'm not sure how the phase is between these two, but I think it sounded good when I tried it. Anyway, the guitar. One of the things that I have had trouble with is that almost every guitar I've been trying to play lately that's of this type has a 1 3/4 nut. And although I can play that and I can get with it pretty well, I prefer 1 11/16. So this one has a 1 11/16, and it's got a really nice carve on the neck. I find it instantly comfortable, as Collings often are, but because it's 1 11/16, it's just a little bit more similar to what I'm using on my arch tops, and a little bit fatter than most of the Telecasters, but which those are 1 5/8. But this is just perfect for me. The carve on the neck feels really good. I understand that Collings copied Julian's Martin. I think I've got that right, very closely, and it's slightly asymmetrical and interesting, unusual, you might say. And so that's that. But all of those things are important, because when you put your fingers on the guitar, if it doesn't feel right and if it doesn't respond in a way you're used to, then it won't be any fun, even if it sounds good to everybody else. So the guitar feels good and sounds good to me while I'm playing it, which I think is profoundly important. Now, a couple of other things. I'm playing with my fingers now, and a lot of times I've touched guitars, tried to play flat top guitars, which isn't really what I'm used to these days, but I'm trying to, because I love the sound. But I find that you have to lean into them so much that you have to compromise your technique, because the guitar wants you to hit it hard to get it to speak. And then this guitar doesn't have that problem. I mean, don't get me wrong, I hit it hard sometimes, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment with the pick. And it gives it up for days, but it doesn't need me to hit it hard. Are we getting tired of the key of G now? Oh, we'll go to the key of B flat. So I can play it softly. In fact, I think in some ways it sounds really beautiful, maybe not better, but really beautiful, just touched very softly like I'm playing now. These strings are the strings that Julian likes to use. They came on the guitar, and they're about a month old, and I haven't changed them, and they're sounding really good to me, so I'm not going to change them. This the D'Addario nickel bronze, and it's kind of a throwback string that I particularly like as well. I've been using them on some of my guitars for quite some time, and I like them too. The description you might hear about this guitar is that it's kind of a drier guitar. It doesn't have all of that sort of shimmer, that sounds like a pristine recording of a guitar with lots of reverb on it or anything. It's kind of dry. And I like that because, again, it reminds me of the old records that I love so much, So then we'll talk a little bit about another voice that I like about this instrument, is that it allows me, if I want to, dig in almost to the point of compression. It's funny, I really love the B string. The E string hasn't quite come into its own yet. It's not bad. It's not like it's quiet. It doesn't have the bloom, but the B string has a bloom like nobody's business. So there it is with a pick. It can definitely stand up to some more strident right hand energy. I'm going to do something that I don't often do, but I find that it's an interesting way to play around with flat top guitars. So often we hear them capoed up, and it sounds really nice capoed. It tightens things up a little bit to get I'm particularly fond of the second fret. So we have this sort of Americana style, which I grew up playing. And in some ways, that's what this guitar is really made for. So there it is, the Collings OM1JL. Forgive me if I'm gushing a little bit. I realize that this is an extremely positive review because I am really extremely positive about this guitar. I really love it. I have a feeling that it's going to show up on recordings and many of my videos because it just seems to be the voice that I've been missing. As much as I love all of the other things that I'm doing with all of my other guitars, the Telecasters and the arch tops and stuff, this one is just really singing out to me, and I'm loving it. So I want to thank Mark at Collings, and I also want to thank Julian for inspiring me and encouraging me to check this guitar out. Both of those guys kind of really went out of their way to see if I could get this guitar in my hands, and I wanted to thank them both for that. So here we go, just a little tune.